Hello, hello, welcome everybody. So pleased you can see us. You can join us. Hi Laura, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yep, just back off my holidays.
Oh, that's all right for some. Oh, that's brilliant, brilliant. I'm really pleased to kind of see everyone joining from the chat as well. So really nice to say hello to everybody. Really, really excited for this one here. I know Laura's presented with Lumio beforehand and is a massive Lumio user. And I've actually had the pleasure of seeing her use it as well, which is brilliant. If you do want to follow along, the link is going to be popping up in the chat. I'll pop it in the banner below. Feel free to do that. And actually have all the experience as well. If you've got any questions, if you want to add any comments, please put those in the chat as well. And I can see Aileen's joined us from Scotland as well, so I'm going to actually shout that one out as well. So, Laura, I think over to you, and really looking forward to you sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to pop my screen on here. There we go. So that's my link code there, but I think it's all in the chat. We seem to have quite a few students in already. So I shall just close that and I'll just get started. So my session today is from worksheet to wow. Hopefully it will be wow for you. It's all about ditching those photocopies that nobody likes us to use and using Lumio instead. So I always kind of like to start off with a little bit of how to use Lumio. So if you wouldn't mind just dragging the little pin and telling me kind of where you are from. So I shall start us off here from Scotland. And
I think we just need to pop this into a whole class worksheet.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that myself, sorry.
You can do it at the side if you want.
Oh.
Yeah.
There we go, sorry.
Awesome. I'll go and put my little pin on.
Okay. That should be it now working, yes, good stuff. Excellent. So we've got quite a few people from America, a couple of people in there from Europe. Is he up there in Canada way? Excellent. Super. Great stuff. And my next little icebreaker is normally biscuits. I normally go for what's your favourite biscuit, but since I'm just off my holidays, it is, are you a beach or a pool person? So let's have a little look here. Just drag yourself. If you're not familiar with it, just drag a little emoji from the side here and tell me if you are a beach or a pool person. One of the things I'm showing you in here as well is we use a communication aid package called BoardMaker. So this is out of my BoardMaker program, and I've just brought it in as pictures into Lumio. So it has that kind of accessibility feature as well. Lots of beach people, lots of beach people. Excellent. Pool, who needs sand getting everywhere? I kind of do agree there, yeah. Plus, for me, the all-inclusive band didn't work at the beach, so the pool was definitely my place to be. Is Anyone else having a problem with not being able to hear me? No.
I can hear you fine. I think if anyone is struggling with audio, no, you're fine. No, staying fine. I think it's the settings for the computers, so you should be fine.
Okay, no problem. Just somebody's popped up, can't hear anything. Right, so a couple of reasons why I do that. One of them is just to gauge how many people I'm talking to, which looks great. There seems to be quite a good audience there. And just to get you kind of used to using some of the features of Lumio if you're quite new to this. So we will get ourselves started with the actual presentation now. Okay. So I'm going to kind of introduce myself, talk a little or a lot about why I use Lumio, and then I'm going to take you through some examples of how we can transform the worksheets that we photocopy, multiple copies of for each child learner, and then have to worry about where we're saving them, and we end up with piles and piles of worksheets at the end of term with kind of not really any home for them to go to. So that's just what we're going to have a little look at. I'll probably talk for maybe about 20 minutes or so, and then we can stop for some questions and things. Feel free, if I'm going too fast, to pop it in the chat, and Mark will give me a wee nod if you want something else explained a little bit in more detail. Likewise, pop it in the chat and Mark will give me a wee nod with this. Like I say, we've presented these things together for a few years now, so we're pretty slick at knowing what to do, when to do it. So this is me. I'm Laura Peden. I'm a class teacher in Fife in Scotland. I've been using Lumio now for years and years. I want to say maybe about eight years, but maybe longer. These are my two kind of social media handles. I don't tend to use anything else. These are my kind of work social. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free. And that's my Pinterest one as well, which don't tend to use too much to post things. That's more just kind of for my bits and pieces there. But LinkedIn's probably the best place to catch me if you're wanting me kind of work-wise. The little QR code at the bottom there as well is just an extra link to my classroom. Like I say, I've been using Lumio quite a few years. I've used it from Scotland-based primary 1, so that is kind of age 4, up to primary 7, which is about age 12, doing various things. I quite like the first couple of things I did with you was this little check-ins. I do quite a few bits and pieces of that with the younger kids. We use it a lot for voting as well, kind of that idea of the pupil voice, things like that. But today we're kind of here to talk about the worksheet side of things. So this is a question for you, and I think the answer to this is probably yes, 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 and more yes. Is your head teacher or your admin always complaining about the amount of money that is spent on photocopying? A few years ago in my local authority, we actually had probably what I would kind of equate to kind of league tables of who spent the most on photocopying. And I think at the end of the month, or the end of the, what you would maybe say quarter kind of term, we got an email with a spreadsheet itemizing how much money you personally had spent on photocopying, because we're all kind of, it's tracked by card based. And it was, sometimes we kind of thought, oh, it's quite funny, we're trying who was top of the league kind of thing. But on a serious note, if we're spending that amount of money on photocopying that's going kind of nowhere, what could we be spending that money on? And that's where Lumio comes in. It for me, has drastically reduced the cost of photocopying for me. I do very little photocopying now because a lot of my work and things is done through Lumio. We're also quite lucky to have one-to-one devices in our local authority, our region now as well. So that also helps with using Lumio. But Lumio is a web-based product, so it can be used on any device, netbooks, desktops, Chromebooks, things like that. It can be used across all devices. So I have the simple solution for you today, and I'm just going to talk you through these 3 bits of my solution for you. Okay? So the first thing we need to have a look at is just finding those photocopies. For me in Scotland here, it tends to be, Twinkle, Teacher Pay Teacher, that kind of website that I kind of go to for my quick fix worksheets. Quite often now, I look for more individualized things, and I'll maybe take those ideas and I'll transfer them into my own kind of things. But just for today, because I'm showing you the actual logistics of how to do this rather than what to use, I'm just going to use some simple things that you can go and find yourself really easily. So when you're looking for your photocopies, they can be PDFs, PowerPoints, or smart notebook files that you can pop into Lumio. You can also, if you have photocopies of your own, or if you've got drawn worksheets and things like that, you could scan them in, convert them into a PDF as well, and then pop them onto Lumio. Second thing is how to upload things to Lumio. And it is just a case of simply clicking on the file that you want and uploading it. And then at the end there, I'm going to show you how to kind of add some flair with some Lumio interactive tools to use. So I'm going to pop out of this presentation just now and just into my Lumio dashboard here. I'm just going to head into my library here. And excuse me, you can see at the top here, we have the import button here. So this is where we just literally take a file that we want from somewhere saved on your computer and pop it into Lumio. Now, some of the files I have are quite large files, so I do have some pre-saved ones just in case, so that we're not sitting for a couple of minutes waiting on a Lumio file importing. So it's pretty simple here. I'm just going to go to my computer, and from here, I'm just going to go down to my documents and then into, okay. So I've got various files here that I can use. All of them are Lumio accepted files. I've got a couple of folders in here, and again, I've got PowerPoints and PDFs there. So I'm just going to take this, count the object sheets, that's just one sheet. Actually, I'm going to do phonics sheets because, oh, sorry.
That's fine. Just whilst this is importing, the way that Laura clicked on this one here, it brings it in as a flattened images. It's really nice and easy for get it all consistent and brings in. Angela's asked the question, can I bring that as an editable to use Immersive Reader? On that drop-down menu, if you click the bottom one, it's editable, and that way you can Immersive Reader and everything from there as well. But hopefully that's filled a minute whilst it's importing. Keep going, Laura. It's amazing.
Thank you. So from here, once it's imported, it's letting you know. So this one, and this is the reason I picked this one, is it has 9 sheets to it. I might want to use all of them. I might only want to use a couple of them. So that's where I get the choice of, selecting a couple of them if I only want to do 3 to begin with, or if I want them all. So I'm just going to put the first 3 in to begin with. So that's my 3 sheets in there that the children can use. Right. Now, the question about immersive reader there as well is sometimes I quite like to put my own voice in as well, with instructions. So I can press this button up here that will give the children general instructions at the very start of when it opens. I'll give them very instructions, you know, simply match the picture to the phrase, the thing. But along with the immersive reader, if I click on this button here and I click on audio here, I can also record audio for the sheet or specific little bits on here. So if I was to look at maybe one that maybe the children weren't familiar with, so for example, sad, if they weren't quite sure how to sound that word out, if we hadn't looked at the sounds there, I could just click on record, and then here, I'm just going to check that it said, yep, a sad man. A sad man, a sad man. And then that just comes up with a little audio button there, and my click's not working very well today. I'm just going to leave it there because it's but I could then put it down to here. And then what I can do with this, I quite like to duplicate my slides before I send them out as an activity. So I have the one on the screen that I can maybe do something with first, and then I put it out into, but I can just click on the magic button. So we're kind of back. So we've got our picture in now, we've got our file in, and then I would just go to the magic button. And this time, rather than a whole class whiteboard where everybody's able to write on it, I would go to an individual whiteboard there. Okay. And then if I'm just going to do all 3, just so I can show the next bit for you when it comes to it. And that now, instead of 3 sheets of paper or 9 sheets of paper that you're photocopying at, I don't know, 2 pence a sheet, or I don't know what that would be, 5 cents a sheet, you now have that completely, you know, doesn't cost you anything there. So I'm going to finish editing here, and then I'm going to launch this, and hopefully you should, if you're still in my class, yep, you should now see this as its sheet. Yep, we all seem to still be here. So here I am now with my handout. If you're on your device, you should be able to start using that and matching up the phrases to the pictures. If a couple of people wouldn't mind doing that, I'll just show you the next bit to it. I also have the option of a teacher handout where if I need to go over again with them what they need to do, I can do it. And like I say, they can, a sad man, they can play that button, which if my mouse was working correctly. So now I can see here that some people are working it out. And if you've got styluses and things like that, you can use them on there. If not, it's just a case of finding the pen at the side there. I can also show or hide the students' names as well. If I don't want to if I just want a general idea of how people are getting on, then I can see that there. If I want a more specific idea of how they're getting on, I can have a look at their names. But generally, when I'm on the whiteboard, I probably wouldn't have their names necessarily. I would be looking at that after the session had kind of finished. After I'd taught this bit, I would have that. So I'm just going to go back to here. So we've all completed the first one. So I'm just going to go back over here to the next bit that we can do with this, because obviously there's another 2 sheets there that nobody can access yet. If I swap over from me pacing the lesson, so I'm changing the slides at the moment. If I change that over to student pacing the lesson, then they can click through the further sheets as quickly or as carefully as they need to. So if I just pop that on now, you should be able to get all 3 off the sheets. And you should be able to click back and forward yourself on those. So I think that was page 2. And again, if I want to see people's progress on page 2, have a little look and see. I can see that some people have, some people have started page 2. I'm just going to have a little look and just double check. I see I can click on a person and get an enlarged version of that. Quite happy that Cheryl, that's what she's doing. I can also, if I'm just wanting to flick through, I can just press these buttons at the side here and it just gives me the next person and the next person and the next person there. So that's great. The other thing that I will have just a little look at is this, once the activity's finished, you can export it to a PDF if you want evidence wise for something like this. But you don't necessarily need to export that to keep the data, because the data's in your class session now. So you can always revisit the class session and collect and have another look at the data. So you don't need to necessarily export everything. I would probably just be exporting in my kind of local authority, we have kind of assessment pieces that match to what's called benchmarks, or trying to think what else they would be called other places. Yeah, kind of learning outcomes and that kind of thing. So I would maybe only export and save data for maybe 1 or 2 activities, maybe a pre-activity and a post-activity, maybe to look at the difference in the children's progress. Right. So are we quite happy, okay with that? I'm just going to close this again now, because I think we kind of get the idea of that. Oh, it's asking me to do. And like I say, this is a bit here where it's saved in your class sessions. So I can now review, I can start it again, or I can, if the children are logged in, not as guests, I can share that activity with them. I'll just go back to my library here and I'll just kind of talk through another couple of examples that I have. So here's a couple of websites as well up here, and it is just simply a case of finding a worksheet that you want and downloading from the website that you're using. It'll head into your downloads, and then from your downloads you would just add it in to here. I'm going to use this one next, but I'm not going to upload it because that is quite a large file. So I'm going to go back and just get it out of here for us. It's already, yeah. So I'm just going to show you now how to edit in the actual Lumio bit rather than just using it. So if I go to edit file, so there's lots of different things in here, and there's lots and lots of, there was a lot more than this, so I've just picked a few out of here. And what I've got is just a title page, and then I've got again, just set it to class activity, and then again I can do the same for this one. Just set it to individual handout. But maybe before I want to do that, I might want to give them a little bit of instruction on maybe remembering to what we call carry. So I might want to put a little speech bubble here, just so that when they're working on it, they can press that if they need a little bit of guidance. I think that's what makes it kind of interactive and maybe a bit more inclusive as well, that, you know, that little teacher voice is there for them if they need it. For the learners who don't need it, they'll just rattle on and do the calculations. But for children who maybe need just a little bit of reminding, and I think as well, with it being the teacher voice that's in there as well, I think that's kind of adds the personalisation to it as well, that, you know, it's a voice that they're familiar with that's helping them with that. So that's kind of a few other bits and pieces. And then what I would do at the end here, we have a few just examples that they would maybe go away and do on a whiteboard or in their jotter or something like that. Or I could add in a piece of squared paper in here, and they could do the calculations on the computer as well. So that one came as those were all PDFs that came in there. Using a PowerPoint is pretty much the same idea. With that, PowerPoints sometimes take maybe just a little bit longer to come in. What I may try and do is I'll put something in. I don't use this very often. I tend to edit my PowerPoints and things so that they're ready to come into Lumio rather than edit them in Lumio, just a preference of the way I work. But just since somebody asked the question, I'll give it a wee try and we'll see how we get on. So I'm just going to find a PowerPoint in here. So slide deck, let's see what we get. This is not quite part of the polished presentation. So if it goes a bit wrong, then it sometimes goes wrong. And that's the thing about it. This is what I was saying. This is why I downloaded them a little bit earlier. We shall see. I'm not quite sure how big the slide deck is, but just while that's kind of going on, I think hopefully you can see the benefit of Lumio compared to the pages and pages of photocopying that you might need to do, especially with some of these worksheets and things that I've used. You want to use them in colour as well, and that costs even more, whereas they're on the screen in colour and everything's give it another second or two and then maybe get it somewhere. I probably picked this.
So many. Yeah, it's one of those. It just takes a while. It's because then what it's doing is it's taking that flattened PDF and actually separating each of these ones here, which obviously is great key benefits for the users. But it is having to read them all and separate them all. to actually bring them in itself.
Mm.
And I think we've picked a large document there as well.
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah. So this is the document here that we've got. I'm just going to pop in all of the, but I'm just going to take out a couple of, just so you can just see, you can
select all at the top. Select all at the top, and it'll deselect them all, and then just pick in. Or does it? Yeah, and then just pick 2 or 3. I think. Yeah. Just in case.
Yeah. Probably best to. So I'm just going to pick a couple here, and then maybe that one and that one. There we go. I have no idea what I've picked, so hopefully they'll be good to interact. Okay. So then here we are. We've now got the complete interaction that you can move everything around up there. Things like this. Sometimes what I quite like doing with this one is making it a individual handout, but I sometimes ask them, rather than writing anything down, I sometimes ask them to put in the voice. So if they can describe what they think a material is, what they think a rock is, earth, natural quarry, things like that. So it's, again, you can't get that voice on a worksheet or a photocopy of a PowerPoint, so you've got that accessibility idea there as well. And I can just put in here, give me a description of these words, the thing. So that kind of helps. And it, some children, like me, I don't particularly like to hear my voice back. So they could have the option of typing in if they want to. It's one of these kind of ideas where you can do a lot of different things with it. And again, there's another thing here. So things like, for example, this plastic yo-yo, I'm not quite sure when this was kind of made. I don't know if the yo-yo was, if children would kind of recognise that. You might want to put a better picture in there, which you're able to do with that. But again, that's probably something I might have done in PowerPoint before I came into Lumio. But again, you can make that a group workspace as well. So you could have a few children working on the same page together. But I tend to use the individual one that gives you kind of the worksheet that would normally be sitting on the desk in front of them, or the whole class, which is like the conversation wise thing that we can get out of that there. And then likewise here, can you think of any other places that you've seen rocks? I mean, they could type underneath there, or they could write, they could voice in there as well, or they might get a little bit messy, but they could also insert a picture from there as well if they wanted to. So hopefully that's kind of giving you the idea of how the PowerPoint works as well in there. And like I say, it is just simply a case of pressing the button and deciding which of these you want to use. I sometimes find whole class whiteboards, when you're doing something that kind of suggests a question to answer, is a bit tricky. There's better ways in Lumio to do that. But the individual handouts I find really, really useful. So if I just finish editing that, and I'll just head back to this file for us. So hopefully I've managed to help you here find your photocopies that you need. I've shown you how to upload them to Lumio. Like Mark said, the flattened versions upload pretty quickly. The editable ones take a bit longer because obviously it's breaking the file down into all its individual pieces, but it doesn't take too long. And if we weren't sitting on a presentation just now, you would have probably checked your emails or had gone to do something else while that was uploading. So it's not like it's taken ages to upload. And then hopefully I've shown you how to add a few of the very basic Lumio interactive tools in there to help reduce the need to photocopy. And I think my last little bit is to tell you, congratulations, I have just made you very popular with your head teachers or your admins, because I have hopefully saved them a few pennies along the way. So
that's awesome. I think from all head teachers and admins, that's the winning point there. Just on this slide here, would you mind, like, during the lesson, how can I make this one page interactive as an individual or group work? Would you mind just going through that section?
Yeah. So while I'm in the presentation.
Yeah, the little magic wand at the side.
Okay. Yep. So just down the side here, I think, just judging by what people have put in. So these are all your kind of tools down the side. Here is our little wand here that we can make it interactive. And then we've got the individual handout if we want it there. We've got a group workspace, or we can make it a whole class whiteboard. So if I just make it a whole class whiteboard for us at the moment, then you would have access to it, and feel free to add a little emoji into it. It is that simple.
It's exactly that. I think what's really nice, I mean, seeing a lot of the resources that you've used from all the different companies, and I know I was on a previous session today looking at Canva resources as well, but it's actually taking all of that content that we've already got. And like you mentioned at the beginning, the PowerPoints, the Google Slides, the PDFs, the smart notebook files, and actually I don't need to photocopy, I don't need to send them out. They are there ready for the learners. And then by attaching audio, attaching all these bits and pieces as well, it becomes such a better resource. And this final comments that's made me laugh here is saving on the glue sticks as well. I think I always run out of glue sticks by about January in my years. So love it.
Yeah. Oh, I like
Laura, that has been, well, absolutely, yeah. That has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all those resources. Am I right to jump in now?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I just supposedly realised I haven't cut you off. Excellent. So Laura, like she mentioned at the beginning, is a fantastic ambassador. One of some of the great group that we've got across Scotland. And actually, there are many more as well. So we'd love to have some of you a part of that situation. I've already seen many different ambassadors in the chat. If you want to join that group, I have put the links in the chat if you want to join that as well. The links I'm now putting into here as well is amazing to have your feedback as well. So as well as all the thank yous that are flooding the chat on the Laura will absolutely get and thank you for. There is an official survey to kind of being sent out from that chat as well. So please take the moment to send that, and Laura can have that feedback from there as well. There's also your certificate of attendance. I know some people are kind of dropping in and out and on their phones as well. So feel free to click that link. You will have that as well. If you've missed it, of course, be in touch with someone from the Lumio team and we can get that to you as well. And the recordings for this are going to go out next week as well. So you have that recording and all of these fantastic resources that Laura has shared with us this afternoon. We have got a few more sessions. We have got a few more. I think we've got a few more hours to go within Lumio. It'd be great to see you on some of the other ones, including some of the keynotes that are kicking off in the next hour or so. So feel free to do that. And then finally, we're just going to put a social challenge in as well. So Laura, I'm just going to take a quick print screen. So I'm going to smile for a moment. And if anyone else wants to kind of take that and actually take a print screen from this, share that on social media. The social challenge is up on the screen as well, with a gift card of the $25 US or equivalent for us over here. Feel free to do that and just kind of at Lumio Social, or of course using Lumio Palooza, hashtag Lumio Palooza 2026 to get that as well. If you've missed any of these sessions, they are all going to be on YouTube as live recordings for this as well. And then the links, you'll get those links next week as well. including the certificates for that. But apart from that, there's been some loads of great thank yous from the chat. But for myself, Laura, that has been amazing. So many great use cases and so many ways of actually starting with something and adding actually something on as well. Looks like the link isn't working, so I'm just going to go and copy that link as well from the master copy. So let me just get this survey link and put that straight. So there's the survey link and the certificate link. Let's get the right one. Got a document full of every single link under the sun. So those two are in the chat as well. If perchance you don't get them, be in touch with the Lumio team or myself. Oh, great. At least it works for somebody. But Laura, thank you so much. It's been really insightful. Pleasure to join that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks everybody else for joining. And we'll see you all again soon.